when it comes to motivation, motivation is what gets you through pushing forward through whatever activity that you may be needing to push forward towards or through, and being able to maintain that level of perseverance, maintain that level of so-called motivation in order to continue on your path, in order to continue on your path mentally, in order to continue on your path physically, in order to continue on your path emotionally and spiritually. So motivation is all about staying motivated regardless of what it is that you're dealing with, to be able to constantly get through whatever it is that you need to get through, whatever you're going through when it comes to mentally, whatever you're going through when it comes to emotionally, whatever you're going through when it comes to mentally, being able to stay strong through the most difficult times and the times when you may not feel as motivated. How can you kick into more motivation? How can you kick it into being more motivated? You can kick into being more motivated when it comes to mentally by using your mental state of being to empower yourself to continue on that path, using your mental state of being to continue on being strong and continue on motivating yourself to continue on growing mentally, to continue on expanding when it comes to mentally, to continue on becoming more mentally stronger, to continue on being motivated when it comes to developing more mental thoughts, more mental forms, more mental abilities, ways to be able to think, ways to be able to communicate when it comes to mentally, ways to be able to use your mental state of being for whatever it is that you would like to be able to use your mental state of being for. So staying motivated when it comes to mentally is going to empower that whatever it is that you need to do in order to use your mental state of being, you can continue on doing that in that way. And when it comes to being motivated mentally, tell yourself what you need to know, tell yourself what you need to tell yourself in order to stay powered, in order to stay motivated when it comes mentally to get whatever task it is that you need to get done. Whether that's, like I said, a difficult task, an easy task, a task that's in between, a task that's neither here nor there, something that's mundane, something that you may see as dull or whatever, you can get through that so-called dull experiences or whatever you have to do by staying motivated. And getting through that action by staying motivated mentally is having that mental process in your mind of stimulating myself through this experience. Therefore, I'm consistently mentally motivated to continuously push through these experiences that I'm going through when it comes to mentally stimulating myself and structuring my thoughts in a way where I'm almost entertained by myself, in a facet of the mind where you're focused on motivation, where you're focused on moving forward, telling yourself things like, I'm not going to continue having something to stop me in my tracks. I'm not going to have this stop me from being motivated. I'm going to allow this situation that I'm going through right now to motivate me to be even more stronger when it comes to mentally, to motivate me to be even more mentally sharpened when it comes to my mental state of being and the mind and my ability to use my mind. And I'm going to use this situation that I'm going through to continuously be mentally motivated to develop new thought forms, to develop new ways of developing deeper thought about things, new ways of pushing forward when it comes to mentally and moving on towards being more consciously aware when it comes to mentally. Gonna allow these situations that I'm going through to mentally motivate me in order to get to that place that I need to be when it comes to mentally, or consistently maintain a place that I am when it comes to mentally. By being motivated, you need to stimulate yourself to be able to get through that experience with no, let's say, reason to stop what you're doing just because you are mentally tired, or you're mentally struggling, or you're mentally challenged, or you're mentally weak, or you're mentally experiencing some sort of opposition. Just stay mentally motivated through those actions and through those situations and scenarios. Therefore, you can maintain motivation. Therefore, you can continue on getting through whatever it is that you need to get through just by simply being motivated. And motivation, there's a difference between motivation, there's a difference between that and then discipline. Motivation is a lot having to do with, do you have the energy that it takes to be able to push yourself to do what you have to do? Whereas discipline is, do you have that quality of yourself to be able to do that thing every single day, to be able to do that every single time that you need to do that. So there's a little bit of a difference between motivation and discipline. Of course, I'll make a video strictly on discipline, and this is just a quick rundown on motivation. I'm not going to hit everything that there is to talk about emotion in this single video, but what I am going to talk about and I am going to do is spread the conscious awareness of my wisdom and knowledge based upon motivation. Therefore, I can help to spark someone else's light, spark someone else's fire, for them to actually have that burning flame of motivation in order to be able to push forward and understand and grasp the essence of motivation. And therefore, we can all have a better idea of what it is to be motivated, how to stay mentally motivated and physically, emotionally, and spiritually motivated. When it comes to physically motivated, motivate yourself by being in a space of motivation. When it comes to physically, consistently stimulating yourself towards being physically motivated, like, I'm going to continue on putting in these actions. These actions fuel my fire. These actions get me more and more and more motivated, because the more that I do them, the more I want to keep on going, one after the next, after the other, after the next, after the other, and I want to keep pushing forward when it comes physically. So whatever those actions are that you see as having you in a more motivated space when it comes to physically, in a more motivated state of being when it comes to physically, focus in on those and continuously do those actions. And if you're doing, or if you're involved in a certain scenario where you think, oh, I'm not motivated to do this, I can't get this done, I'm sick and tired of this, I'm ready to throw in the towel, or whatever that may be, do the opposite of that in that moment, realizing that I'm going to meet this with motivation, I'm going to meet this energy with strength, I'm going to meet this energy with perseverance, and I'm going to stay motivated through these experiences, and do those things that help you and keep you constantly motivated when it comes to physically, when you're in a hard time of being, let's say, unmotivated, or being unsatisfied with where you are when it comes to physically. Do those things in those times that will keep you physically motivated and will keep you pushing forward when it comes to physically. And don't let anything that happens to you, anything that you deal with when it comes to physically, affect your ability to stay motivated, because the more that you're motivated when it comes to physically, the more things that you're going to get done. The more that you're motivated when it comes to physically, the more actions you're going to be able to put in. The more motivated when it comes to physically, the more things you're going to be able to consistently do on a consistent basis towards your path, towards your goals, towards reaching that success, towards reaching that space that you want to reach when it comes to physically, regardless of what it is that you're dealing with, regardless of, like I said, you feeling unmotivated or whatnot. Tell yourself, no, I'm going to beat through and I'm going to break through this unmotivational spell, and I'm going to physically put in the work that needs to be done. I'm going to physically put in the actions that I need to put in order to stay physically motivated, in order to consistently do what you have to do. There's things that you're going to have to do in life that you might not want to do, or there's things that you're going to have to do in life that you might not just be motivated to do right off the bat. So therefore, in dealing with that little opposition, that energy of I don't really want to do this, or this is something that's difficult, or whatever that may be, realize that going through that fight right there is going to give you so much strength, it's going to give you so much motivation in order to continue on pushing forward towards those goals, in order to continue on reaching through that space and meeting that resistance that you're dealing with when it comes to, let's say, being unmotivated when it comes to physically. And motivation when it comes to physically is something that you can embody and be able to consistently go through whatever it is that you need to go through just because you're motivated. Just by being motivated, you can get through whatever it is that you need to get through. For example, I'm pretty much have to do some physical actions later, like put in some work, make some monetary gain in order to do what I need to do, in order to put in the work that I need to do when it comes to physically. And it is the end of the week, it's Sunday, but that doesn't matter to me, because when I'm motivated when it comes to physically, and when I'm putting myself in that motivational state, telling myself that it doesn't matter what I have to do, I'm going to consistently stay motivated through whatever physical actions that I need to carry out, whatever way that I need to move about when it comes to physically, whatever things that I need to go through when it comes to physically, I'm going to remain physically motivated, and I'm gonna remain motivated because that's what's right for me. I'm gonna remain motivated because that's the way that I want to exist when it comes to physically. I'm gonna remain motivated because that's the way I want to move through these situations when it comes to physically. I'm gonna remain motivated because that's the reality that I'm choosing for myself. Rather than being unmotivated, I'm gonna consistently remain motivated. When it comes to, let's say, motivated when it comes emotionally, I've already talked about how, there's things that you might not want to have to do because you feel a certain way, or you feel unmotivated, or you feel tired, you feel weak, you feel like that's something that you don't want to consistently do. Well, guess what? You can get through those actions. You can get through that with feeling that way by just telling yourself, all right, I may feel this certain way when it comes emotionally, but I'm going to get through that. I'm going to meet that resistance with absolute motivation when it comes to emotionally. Affirm yourself. Talk and treat yourself right in the ways that you know that you're going to continue on being motivated. If you do something and then you feel a certain way about it and you're like, you know what, that just blew all my motivation just because I feel this way now. I'm telling you now, don't worry about the way that you feel as much, and just put in that work and know that you're going to put in that work when it comes to reaching that better space that you need to be in, that motivated space when it comes emotionally, and you will get there. The more that you tell yourself, I'm mentally, physically, I'm motivated, you're going to be feeling that internal motivation when it comes emotionally. You're going to be feeling that pressing forward, that pushing forward, that forward movement of being motivated. And to stay consistently motivated regardless of what you feel emotionally is an absolute great power for you to have. It's an absolute great way for you to move through all actions that you need to go through, and not having your emotional state of being hold you back, not having just the way that you're feeling unmotivated hold you back, but realizing and being aware of, okay, maybe I'm unmotivated in this aspect, but I'm going to take the advantage and take the initiative in the situation to say, fuck the way that I feel. That's nothing compared to where I need to go. That's nothing compared to the goals that I need to reach. That's nothing to the work that I need to put in. And that through that process, you'll stay emotionally motivated. You'll derive emotional motivation through that process of going against the way that you feel. And I'm not saying, just go against your gut feeling, go against your intuition or the way that you feel. I'm saying if your emotional state of being is something that's keeping you unmotivated, then go against the way that you feel. Therefore, deriving and developing motivation through that and going through whatever it is you need to go through, regardless of what your emotional state of being is dealing with. For example, having to do something that you don't necessarily want to do, but you know you're going to get through it. That process of knowing that you're going to get through it and feeling internally motivated is going to be a part and play a big part of the way that you move through that, the strength that you move through that situation with, that emotional stability that you move through that situation with, that emotional balance that you move through that situation with, that emotional power that you move through that situation with, that emotional intuition, that emotional awareness that you have when you move through that situation that you're going through, simply by being motivated, simply by having that fire burning when it comes to your emotional state of being, simply by not allowing whatever it is that you're going through when it comes emotionally to have you in a space of being unmotivated. So stay motivated when it comes emotionally. Consistently put yourself in a space that you're entertained by the path that you're on in order to stay motivated. Consistently put yourself in a space where you are stimulated when it comes emotionally so that you can stay motivated through whatever it is that you're doing. Consistently put yourself in a space where you're emotionally, let's say, giving yourself confidence when it comes emotionally, giving yourself that strength when it comes emotionally. Therefore, you can stay motivated regardless of what you're going through. Giving yourself that recognition when it comes emotionally, saying, good job for being that emotionally balanced. Good job for being that emotionally strong. Good job for having that way of reacting in such a strong and wise and knowledgeable way to the outside world that you're dealing with, or to whatever it is that you're dealing with. Good job having that ability to react to that in that way of emotional strength, in that way of being in your power when it comes emotionally. And just by having those examples to see how you're moving through the experiences that you're going through can give you that emotional sense of motivation, can reward you with that emotional state of experiencing motivation can give you that strength of being in the space that you need to be in order to continuously be motivated when it comes emotionally. When it comes to let's talk about, let's see how much power I have here. Okay, I got a couple more for the next couple minutes. So when it comes to being spiritually motivated, uncomfortable as ever, but I do like the design on it. It's pretty cool, but nonetheless, I'm going to consistently stay motivated regardless of the experience that I'm going through. I'm going to spiritually realize that I'm a powerful spirit, and whatever that I am taking part of, I'm doing the right thing. And just by knowing that I'm a powerful spirit, I'm going to stay spiritually motivated. By knowing that I'm on the right path when it comes to even being on a path when it comes to spiritually, that's going to help me to stay motivated. When recognizing that I'm doing the actions physically, I'm doing and carrying myself mentally that I need to be carrying when it comes to mentally, I'm reacting and holding that strength when it comes to emotionally in order to maintain being on my spiritual path, in order to maintain me being on my spiritual journey. And through those actions and through being aware of that, I'm going to stay constantly spiritually motivated, even if I'm doing something that's not correct, extremely connected to my spiritual path or extremely connected to my spiritual journey. I'm going to use that time and use that space that I'm in to be able to think, to be able to put in actions that I can, to be able to feel the way that I need to feel in order to derive more knowledge, in order to derive more wisdom. Just by using the situation and taking advantage of the situation that you're given, if you have a chance where you're doing something that you need to do, at the same time, stay spiritually motivated by recognizing, okay, this is the path that I'm on. I may be working right now, but at the same time that I'm working, I'm going to maintain being spiritually motivated, which means still staying on my path when it comes to spiritually, still maybe developing, thinking about, feeling, and putting in that work towards deriving more spiritual systems, more spiritual reasons and wisdom and ideas and whatever that may be, is a way that you can stay spiritually motivated. A way to also stay spiritually motivated is to say, look, I consistently keep putting in these actions, I consistently keep staying on my path when it comes to spiritually, therefore I can tell that I'm spiritually motivated. I can consistently tell myself and see from myself and the fruits that I'm bearing that I'm putting in that work, and I'm going to be able to reach the space that I need to reach when it comes to spiritually and stay motivated through that, and not rely on things that are external or things that are, let's say, wishy-washy or whatever that may be, but things that are spiritual, and being into, let's say, embracing my spiritual power, embracing that I'm a strong spirit, embracing being that strong spirit is something that's never going to go away, and something that's always going to motivate me regardless of whatever I am going through. So being able to be aware of that, being able to deal with whatever it is that you need to deal with, and consistently stay motivated. Spiritually, you can stay motivated, like I said, by being on your path, by confirming and affirming that you are on the right journey when it comes to spiritually, and moving into that space, moving into a new space of existence when it comes to spiritually, and staying motivated regardless of whatever you are dealing with. Regardless of what you're dealing with mentally, regardless of what you're dealing with emotionally and physically, you can stay spiritually motivated in order to remain in your power when it comes to spiritually. And that's just a quick rundown on motivation. I know it's nothing crazy or anything like that, but show some support if you may. And not only that, but motivation, I think, is something that on a daily basis people lack and are not even aware that they have the ability to have extreme amounts of motivation, or just strongly be motivated by whatever it is that you are going through and whatever path that you're on. So power to you on your path. This was just a quick rundown, like I said, and I'll catch you in the next one.